in this issue, how will innovation help to stimulate the recovery, the economic recovery?
I think we need to become more innovative in our researching and development of new types of fuel and new, I guess, clean energy. Because when we have these people doing all this new research, and those are more jobs that we're creating. Like I said in my introduction, we have more laboratories. And all these people that are employed there, not just scientists and not just researchers, but people who maintain the buildings, janitorial staff. Those are all new jobs that are being created for people who are jobless and unemployed in this country. I think innovation goes beyond just new research and new technology. It goes into what is put into the innovation and where we can help people in the economy through innovation.
Yep. Katie, can you please respond to that?
Yes. Okay. So innovation, it's a great idea. Like the innovation being brought in everything, not just energy. Innovation creates jobs. But the thing here is that innovation isn't creating jobs here. Like I mentioned, our money, that we're spending on clean energy, a great portion of it is going overseas because they're dedicated to this strong force of clean energy. Also, we've been innovating with clean energy since the 80s, and we still haven't seen that boost of clean energy. So even if the clean energy took over, it still wouldn't make a big enough impact to drive the economic reform, which is the topic of this discussion.
Okay, the last topic that I want to make sure that you cover, since you both brought it up, both groups brought it up, is the issue of jobs. What is going to happen with jobs and energy in the future, and how does that help support your position in regards to this motion that clean energy can drive our economic recovery?
Okay, so Katie, you had said before about the fact that we've started using renewable energy resources in the 1980s, but when you think about it, things take time. And when you think about, like, say anything, like say the civil rights movement in the 1960s and the 1950s, that took time. That started in the 1800s when they started trying to, you know, break free from slavery and become, like, have the African Americans equal to white Americans. And so when you think about it, taking renewable energy and converting it in, and transferring from dirty energy to clean energy, it will take time. And
I think that that's actually like the entire topic of what we're talking about. Right now, we're not looking for something that can fix our economy 100 years in the future. We're looking for something that can drive our economic reform now. So the fact that clean energy will take time, yes, it's a great thing, but it can't drive the economic reform. Because if you install all these things, it's not going to help immediately. We're seeking something that can help immediately, but these clean sources are going to help centuries.
Well, I
decades.
disagree with you there because I think that if we really truly want our economy to recover, we have to do it gradually, because if we recover our economy so quickly, then we're going to go shoot up and then we're going to do the exact same thing and we're going to shoot right back down. So I think that this green energy and the renewable energy resources are definitely going to help our economy because they're going to take it on a more gradual path and keep us at a plateau for longer.
That is excellent.
And we must end there. That was a very good round. And now we're going to move on to round 3, where we get some questions from the audience.
My question to both sides of the issue is, are all of these possibilities, such as wind energy, water energy, biofuel, solar, geothermal, whatever it happens to be, are they practical and efficient enough to be able to lead our economy into a growth session?
That's actually something that I was going to address last session. However, it's not, solar energy can't power a car. It's simply not feasible because it doesn't create enough energy. A lot of the other things that Matt mentioned cannot power, yeah, it can power other things, but we're talking about our bus systems, our cars, our planes. It can't run on solar energy, and it can't, a passenger plane, it's just simply not feasible. So that the issue there is that there won't be a world where there's no fossil fuels. There won't. It's completely impractical. because everything that's transferred requires fossil fuels. Everything that transfers, like windmills, for instance, it needs to be transferred by fossil fuels.
Okay, how can it be made efficient?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm just going to disagree with you there because there was, in fact, an airplane that flew across the United States on solar power alone.
That
so
wasn't, it wasn't a
is
passenger
possible.
plane though, and it was a very small plane that couldn't carry any cargo.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. With innovation, we can, with our inventors, with engineers, or people in the science field, they can come up with these things and invent larger and more storage for the solar power.
I think going back to the direction we were given, and kind of the question entirely, I think the point that was missed here was not, can these alternative fuels drive the economy? It's the research and the innovation that goes into it that is going to drive the economy. It's the money spent on new researching. It's the jobs created by the
companies that are investing.
Yes, I think that point is that we have these new companies that are investing their time and money, but we have people who have jobs created by the companies.
Yes, and Kasia Janasek is actually, she was on Intelligence Squared, and she was one of the debaters that was expressing our views, the affirmative, and she is actually an investor in energy, just in any energy, not just specifically renewable energy, and the reason that she is involved in more investing in the renewable energy is because of the fact that it's driving our economy, and that because of the innovators and all of the things that she's doing to drive our economy and to get us to that next level.
If we become a leader in renewable energy, will it not help our economy? Instead of importing more, we will be exporting energy more?
Okay, that is a very valid point, and yes, it will help our economy to not be importing as much, but to use domestic sources. However, it's not realistic to say that they'll be completely domestic. Like, as I said, the research is going other places, so we'd still be importing stuff. However, like I said, energy accounts for 9% of our economy. So even if we completely transferred the energy sources that we're using and brought in a bunch of money that way, it still wouldn't drive the reform because you still have 91% of the other makeup of the economy that's directly impacting it more so than the energy will.
I think you make a valid point, but at the same time, 9% is still 9%. It still makes a difference. We still, in a time when we are in such a bad position economically, 9% is 9%, and it will make a difference. And I think you talked about we won't import as much, but think about if we are innovative and we do compete globally, we won't just stop importing. We will start exporting. Mm-hmm. And although some of the research is going outside of the United States, that doesn't mean there isn't any research going on here. Bill Ryder from Intelligence Squared talked about how there were 4 companies that he discussed in a short period of time alone in Colorado that have just started and those are the companies we are discussing that are creating new jobs and promoting our economy.
Those.
That's very good. I'm sorry for asking.
Oh my gosh.
The round of questions is over, and we will be going to closing statements.
The question here was whether or not clean energy could drive our economic recovery. I think we have validly argued that clearly clean energy can spur economic growth, proven through the discussion of new companies and new researchers and new innovators in this field. I want to finish with a few of the points that we missed before discussing how new windmills have been so improved throughout research and have given us new types of clean energy. The 9th point she was going to make is water is the most commonly used renewable energy resource, providing enough power to meet the needs of 28 million people. And think about how much water is on this earth. 75% of it is water. So saying that clean energy is expensive is a bit outrageous because it is so readily available. And although it may be more expensive short term, it is cheaper long term. So I just want to finish with the quote saying, "I hope that our country can again aim for the moon to aid in America's economic recovery and will not have our looming questions answered by waiting light years or looking light years away, but by investing in clean energy right here and right now in the United States of America.
Can clean energy drive America's economic reform? I say no. We are all well aware of the economic issues within our borders. There are problems that need to be solved, but do not be fooled. Energy is not the answer. To begin with, according to our finite world, energy as a whole accounts for a mere 9% of the economy. That's 9%. That said, even if we completely transform our energy makeup, it will not contribute enough to make a significant change in our economy. Therefore, the simple answer to this question here is no. Clean energy cannot drive America's economic reform. This is not the only reason, however. Clean energy may be good, and it might help in many ways, but it will not drive the economic reform. First of all, almost every single form of clean energy is significantly more expensive than its quote-unquote dirty counterpart. If U.S. citizens pay more for energy, they will have less to spend on other things, thus hindering economic stimulation. Even now, with clean energy being researched for years, the cost is still substantial. Middle America cannot afford to pay for said energy. And even if they did, that money would be taken away from products that they would normally purchase. Additionally, some argue that clean energy research and newly created businesses will create numerous jobs in the United States. However, this is a ridiculous statement for several reasons. A Stanford study concluded that, quote, the advantages of increased jobs due to renewable energy is vastly overstated. Yes, research and innovation create jobs, but they have proven to create jobs overseas, in other countries. An article on ideastations.com shares that, quote, a significant portion of clean energy funding has gone to foreign companies who have had the advantage of having been heavily subsidized by their own governments for a number of years. Thus, our money is going elsewhere to get more innovation. Herein lies the issue. Our funding for clean energy is creating jobs, but not domestic jobs. This all comes back to competition issues revolving around cheap foreign labor. Let me ask you this. How will new jobs in China drive the economic recovery here in the United States? My third point is that clean energy cannot drive the recovery because there is simply not enough of a demand. In the Intelligence Squared debate, it was said that alternatives account for only 5% of all energy we are using now. This 5% is not an increasing number either. More proof of low demand comes by looking at overall energy consumption. The Center for American Progress tells us that U.S. energy consumption is on the biggest decline since the end of World War II. It is evident that Americans are not demanding new sources. This would be like greatly increasing production of a new car that no one is buying. The trusty laws of supply and demand tell us that building new energy now doesn't make any sense. Lastly, as a nation, we seek instant gratification. We continue to search for immediate answers to our economic problems. Energy is not this answer. Even if we invested in clean energy across the board, we will not see any substantial results until several years from now. Americans tend to take the easy way out, perfectly demonstrated by large dependency on coal and oil. Mason Cooley shares, quote, determination, courage, and hard work are all very nice, but not so nice as an oil well in the backyard. It is true that coal and oil are not the best for the environment, but that is not the topic of this discussion. We must remember that the question at hand is regarding whether or not clean energy will drive the economic reform. I agree that clean energy is important, but in no way will it turn our economy around. Something like clean energy can in no way drive our economic problems because it is just simply too small to make such a large impact. Thank you.
And now that the debate is over, it's time to announce our winner. Congratulations, Katie. You persuaded more of the audience and therefore won the debate.